सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्म विद्या संप्रदाय कर्तृभ्यो वंश ऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। ओम ओम नमः प्रणवार्थाय शुद्ध ज्ञानैकमूर्तये निर्मलाय प्रशांताय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ओम श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शंकरं लोकशंकरम्। ओम भवता जनता सुहिता भविता निजबोधविचारणचारुमते कलयेश्वर जीव विवेकविदं भवशंकरदेशिकमे शरणम्। चैंटिंग में हमको करना होगा यतो वाचो निवर्तन्ते, जो है दूसरा ब्रह्मानंद वल्ली का फोर्थ वाला अनुवाकम। ओके। ओम यतो वाचो निवर्तन्ते अप्राप्य मनसा सह आनंदं ब्रह्मणो विद्वान् न बिभेति कदाचनेते तस्यैष एव शारीर आत्मा यः पूर्वस्य तस्माद्वा एतस्मान्मनोमयात् अन्योन्तर आत्मा विज्ञानमयः तेनैष पूर्णः स वा एष पुरुषविद एव तस्य पुरुषविधताम् अन्वयं पुरुषविदः तस्य श्रद्धैव शिरः ऋतं दक्षिणपक्षः सत्यमुत्तरपक्षः योग आत्मा महः पुच्छं प्रतिष्ठा तदप्येष श्लोको भवति विज्ञानं यज्ञं तनुते कर्माणि तनुतेऽपि च विज्ञानं देवाः सर्वे ब्रह्मज्येष्ठमुपासते विज्ञानं ब्रह्म चेत् वेद तस्माच्चेन्न प्रमाद्यति शरीरे पाप्मनो हित्वा सर्वान् कामान् समश्नुत इति तस्यैष एव शारीर आत्मा यः पूर्वस्य तस्माद्वा एतस्मात् विज्ञानमयात् अन्योन्तर आत्मानन्दमयः तेनैष पूर्णः स वा एष पुरुषविद एव तस्य पुरुषविधताम् अन्वयं पुरुषविदः तस्य प्रियमेव शिरः मोदो दक्षिणपक्षः प्रमोद उत्तरपक्षः आनन्द आत्मा ब्रह्मपुच्छं प्रतिष्ठा तदप्येष श्लोको भवति असन्नेव स भवति असद्ब्रह्मेति वेद चेत् अस्ति ब्रह्मेति चेद्वेद सन्तमेनन्ततो विदुरिति तस्यैष एव शारीर आत्मा यः पूर्वस्य अथातोऽनुप्रश्नाः हुता विद्वानमुं लोकं प्रेत्य कश्चन गच्छति आहो विद्वानमुं लोकं प्रेत्य कश्चित् समश्नुताहु सोकामयत् बहुस्यां प्रजायेति सतपोतप्यत सतपस्तप्त्वा इदगं सर्वमसृजत यदिदं किञ्च तत् सृष्ट्वा तदेवानुप्रविशत् तदनुप्रविश्य सच्चत्यच्छाभवत् निरुक्तं च निरुक्तं च निलयनं च निलयनं च विज्ञानं च विज्ञानं च सत्यं चानृतं च सत्यमभवत् यदिदं किञ्च तत्सत्यमित्याचक्षते तदप्येष श्लोको भवति ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ अतः श्री कृष्ण यजुर्वेदान्तर्गत तैत्तिरीयारण्यान्तर्गत तैत्तिरीय उपनिषत् ॐ यस्माज्जातं जगत्सर्वं यस्मिन्नेव प्रलीयते येनेदन्धार्यते चैव तस्मै ज्ञानात्मने नमः यैरिमे गुरुभिः पूर्वं पदवाक्यप्रमाणतः व्याख्याताः सर्ववेदान्ताः तान् नित्यं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहं तैत्तिरीयकसारस्य मया आचार्यप्रसादतः विस्पष्टार्थरुचीनां हि व्याख्येयं सम्प्रणीयते ॐ अथ प्रथमा शिक्षा वल्ली प्रथमोऽनुवाकः शान्तिमन्त्रः ॐ शन्नो मित्रः शं वरुणः शन्नो भवत्वर्यमा शन्न इन्द्रो बृहस्पतिः शन्नो विष्णुरुक्रमः नमो ब्रह्मणे नमस्ते वायो त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वामेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्म वदिष्यामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतो तद्वक्तारमवतो अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारम् ॐ शान्तिः 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 शिक्षां व्याख्यास्यामः वर्णस्वरः मात्राबलं सामसन्तानः इत्युक्तः शिक्षाध्यायः सहनौ यशः सहनौ ब्रह्मवर्चसम् अथातः संहिताय उपनिषदं व्याख्यास्यामः पञ्चस्वधिकरणेषु अधिलोकमधिज्यौतिषमधिविद्यमधिप्रजमध्यात्मं तामहासंहिता इत्याचक्षते अथाधिलोकं पृथिवीपूर्वरूपं द्यौरुत्तररूपम् आकाशसन्धिः वायुसन्धानम् इत्यधिलोकम् अथाधिज्योतिषम् अग्निः पूर्वरूपम् आदित्य उत्तररूपम् आपस्सन्धिः वैद्युतः सन्धानम् इत्यधिज्योतिषम् अथाधिविद्यम् आचार्यः पूर्वरूपम् अन्तेवास्युत्तररूपम् विद्यासन्धिः प्रवचनकं सन्धानम् इत्यधिविद्यम् अथाधिप्रजं माता पूर्वरूपं पितोत्तररूपं प्रजासन्धिः प्रजननकं सन्धानम् इत्यधिप्रजम् अथाध्यात्मम् अधराहनुपूर्वरूपम् उत्तराहनुरुत्तररूपम् वाक् सन्धिः जिह्वासन्धानम् इत्यध्यात्मम् इति मामः संहिताः य एवमेतामः संहिता व्याख्याता वेद सन्धीयते प्रजया पशुभिः ब्रह्मवर्चसेनान्नाद्येन सुवर्गेण लोकेन ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः. First thing is anything little greater, nobler. It is again practice of it for some time and then being sensitive, which is again possible by little of our unbiased purity as well as the grace of divinity, that we are able to appreciate the greatness in those subtle things. Means what? Let us say respecting elders, parents. You know, by the way, without doing all that also, like a rustic, uncultured, one can live, and people nowadays live. But with some inner control suppressions, when we practice for some days that respect for the elders, respect for the parents, obedience to them, And then when we are little subtle and sensitive while doing so, and also we have a little grace of God, we can see an inexplicable experience in us that there is always a greater nobility felt inside in a life where we are respecting elders rather than being rough and tough. Is it not? Like so to any of the values. One can be non-sensitive or insensitive and negligent when somebody is suffering. क्या फर्क पड़ता है वो उसका है कर रहा है. One can live and that's how people also live. But then for some time with some inner adjustment, when we try to become compassionate kind towards somebody who is suffering and show that compassion through some help and have some sensitivity and also little grace of Bhagwan, we can see being negligent or careless or insensitive is far lesser than the nobility of being careful, being compassionate, being sensitive to understand others' misery and help him out to come out. Like that, see any of the noble lives, life of maturity, a life of dignity, life of values, unless we do them and it will become observant. And again, the unseen hand of the Lord in the form of His grace are there, we definitely find that this is little better than the absence of this guna. So too, like speaking truth. For small little benefits, one can keep on lying and it can be a habit. Many people live like that only. But again, in spite of some losses, gross monetary losses or anything, if one tries to stick to the truth for some months or years and becomes sensitive, observant, and the grace of God is there, he knows the amount of freedom that is felt inside, the self respect felt inside because of speaking truth is unimmeasurable, inexplicable joy than casually, carelessly speaking lies. In the same way, everything in the world, not working, being lazy, looks to be disorder of the day. People feel some sort of comfort in that, which we are seeing at Tamoguna nowadays in our evening Bhagavata class. But somehow coming out of that Tamoguna, invoking that Rajoguna, having a goal, working for it and achieving it, and the reward of achieving the goal, something received in terms of some money or an appreciation from the people. And look from that standpoint, it is more noble than being lazy. So too, independent is greater than being dependent. So too, helping others is greater than seeking the help unnecessarily. So what we are trying to say is, at one level of comfort zone, whatever the lower life we are living looks to be okay. But then, if we can give a chance to ourselves and live a better, higher, greater, nobler life, always we find that we are little better than the earlier. That feeling inside that I am better than earlier is called as evolution. No, it cannot be put in words. That's the difficulty in that. That the experience a person feels of self respect when he is living a noble life, he cannot convey it to a fellow who is living a very bad or negative life. He'll have to experiment, come to this, and walk a feel inside. Like the toughness a person goes through while doing all the asanas, yoga asana, but the health felt by him later on. Lightness of the body felt within. The joy inside because of the full flow of the blood and the air and oxygen. He cannot convey that to a buffalo type of fellow who is eating, sleeping, bulging all around and not doing any exercise. उसको उसी में आनंद आता है. He feels why this fellow सुबह उठकर इतनी तरह से घूम रहा है अपने देह को. सीधा सो जाओ, जब कोई काम है तो उठकर जाके करो. Why these joggings, why these yogas, why the aerobic, anaerobic, ऐसे ही लगता है उसको. The one who doesn't do. But the one who does, he knows the benefit of it and he cannot convey to that fellow. He may speak orally, but that oral speaking, it depends on the receiver whether it conveys to him or not. Why all this introduction given is only to say that it's only when we live for sufficient time the spiritual life, is it not? That we know the self respect in that, that we know the glory in that, that we know the greatness in that compared to the earlier life of non spirituality. And this inner experience of that, self respect or whatever you call the value we have ourselves, we can't convey it to others, we cannot show it to others. Any of those things, when you go regularly to a temple, when you are lighting lamp in your puja room every day and doing 10-15 minutes of puja, and when you are coming regular to the satsanga, when you are regular in your own japa, when you are wonderfully doing your little of contemplation and meditation, you think, oh, after doing this for certain time, compared to the earlier life of not doing this, spending time only in the worldliness, there's a lot of difference. Everybody knows who does it. It can't be conveyed. And in fact, for a more genuine, serious person, तो दोबारा अपने वापस के लाइफ में जाने का इच्छा ही नहीं होता. Even though once, twice, because some pressures and inner and outer, he may seemingly give up. But again, he'll have to come back only. Because he has tasted that. In a negative example of a lion or a tiger of jungle, when it tastes some animal of the city or town or village, it will come barbar to attack and eat and take away. है कि नहीं? In the same way, a person who tastes spirituality, it will linger in him. How much of bad he may be otherwise, but again he will be pulled back here. That is the greatness of the spiritual path. Of course, that person should have that little unbiased sensitivity to compare and see which life is better. And the purpose of sharing all this, talking all this is what? Look within. Are you feeling that feeling of self respect that we are on spiritual path? If yes, congratulate yourself. Then be more inspired, be more regular, be more serious, be more evolving. It's just beginning. If the taste of the beginning is like this, when we do the due efforts and keep on improving upon in our efforts or performance of spirituality, how more it would add to the inexplicable joy in us, to our own self, that self respect, that joy. मैं ये कर पा रहा हूँ. I can do. Has my mind become calm, quiet? I am able to understand difference between dharma and adharma. I am able to reject the adharma and take up dharma. See, I am able to focus on my own Lord. I am able to converse with Him. I am able to visualize His grace all the time. How beautiful that would be. If you are nearing to those experiences, more deeply when we become devotee and enjoying every sloka we chant, every bhajana we do, every kirtana we do, every namasmarana we do, by involving in that. How wonderful it be. बाकी सब दुनिया फीका लगेगा उसके बाद, क्योंकि वो हमेशा फीका ही था. हमको ना ये वाला टेस्ट नहीं मिला, इसलिए मजबूरी के कारण वी थॉट दैट वाज गुड. If this starts happening in us, we are doing the best test of the help or blessings to ourselves. In the same way, so much of literature of the world, spiritual, we study. The writings of some Mahatmas, some compositions, some things, some books, some translations. But you and I, if we observe, the purity of the subject, the purest way of conveying the subject, and the deep intensity, in the what do I say, the what is intensity in the kindness and compassion while communicating that subject, as much it is there in the Upanishads, along with Bhashyam. In no other literature we find. The purest of the pure subject conveyed in a purest of the pure form with such a wonderful kindness, compassion, concern that the student of this Upanishad, whoever he may be, should not only rise above his outer, inner, grosser, subtler problems, but he should be given with, he should be conveyed with the highest of the truth. Having gained which, there is nothing more remains to be gained. Having gained which, um, he is so fulfilled in himself, he is so contented, satisfied in himself that he doesn't search for anything else, get trapped in the earlier life, like in the earlier life. That is the feeling you can see in all the rishis, munis, and the Bhashyakara when we study the Upanishads, which you don't find in any other text. In Gita, the great Krishna is conveying, Arjuna is listening, millions are inspired. They are getting benefit out of Gita to succeed in their outer world, inner world. But still, you can see there is struggling Krishna, a doubtful Krishna, whether this fellow will listen to me or not. Yatechasi tathakuru. Toward the end, he says, because it's not only that I can't decide for you, but if I decide for you, but if you don't abide by my decision, I'll be disappointed. Therefore, it's your life, you decide. Is it not? In Gita, with all its subtlety, sublimity, beauty, divinity, utility, still we see that. But same when you come to the Upanishad, Ishakena kata prashna munda mandukya Taittiriya. You can see that full joyful freedom in Guru's teaching with so much of faith in the subject which he is teaching. He doesn't have faith more in himself or the disciple than on the subject. He says it is not because I am conveying it to that fellow, he'll be convinced. Not because the student is so great, pure, therefore he will understand subject. Though both are true, they are absolutely true. Conveying guru is so great. Reasoning a disciple is so great. That has its own effect. But more than these two, the joy in the teaching of the guru is because of the subject. And he is experiencing it, and he has no doubt at all that his subject will touch the heart of any person who is listening, the disciple, if not today, the other day. And that the power in that subject only molds a most raw worldly person also into the seeker because the subject's greatness. It is a subject about immortality, about their liberation, about the infinite bliss, about the reaching of ultimate, having reached where there is no more to reach. When a reflected happinesses of the world also are so attractive, how will not be the purest happiness conveyed through Upanishad Jnana will not be attractive? Definitely it is. And that subtlety which is there in the Upanishad, nowhere we find in that. That is why Upanishads are highest, that's it. Only it is that we should have that desirability, we should have an opportunity and seizing that opportunity. We should have somebody to guide us in that. I tell you nothing more than this. You join the entire literature of the world of all religions. All of them are talking about the God only, including our own. The Smriti, the Purana, the Itihasa, the bulkiness of all of them running into lakhs and lakhs or thousands of slokas, lakhs. Yet they are great in their own way. They cannot come in near in comparison with the Upanishads. Those sacred Upanishads that we are trying to touch in the morning. Feel that I am to feeling, Baba. How much deeply we are understanding, how much we are applying it in our life sadhana, That also those very crucial, important questions. In fact, that alone is the one which liberates us or gives the promised result of Upanishad. ये तो है ही. But then the mere fact that every day touching the Upanishad, which is being experienced by the Rishi Muni Gurus, which is being coming to through the parampara to the generation, the deserving generation, deserving people of every generation, if we are exposed to them, I tell you how much our Rishis Gurus are kind, compassionate on us. मैं तो कहता हूँ जिंदगी में कुछ भी हो जाए अपना उपनिषद अध्ययन को नहीं छोड़ना. And to that, Sonehe Pe Suhaga, our kind, compassionate Bhashyakara, how he is everything explaining. And if we are really serious, genuine, and honest, no, one after understand the Upanishad, you can see the greatness of those gurus, rishis, munis, not only in telling the theme called Brahma Tattva or Brahma Vidya, but how they developed that theme. While developing that or explaining that, how they have understood the entire world, the phenomena that is happening in the world, how they have understood every of the jiva and his relation with the world, and where this jiva is going wrong. Actually, can any science any day discover that the cause of dukkha for the people is inner delusion, inner avidya, inner identity with the upadhis? Entire world of the scientists put together also can never discover the main cause of bondage unless they turn introverted and become spiritual. But see our rishis and munis, बेटा तुम्हारा दुख बाहर नहीं है रे, तुम्हारा अंदर ही है उसका कारण. इसलिए सॉल्यूशन भी अंदर ही खोजो, बाहर नहीं. By it's a byproduct education they give us. The main goal is to liberate us by giving us our Sarupa Jnanam, the Brahma Vidya, Atma Vidya. But en route itself, see how lofty, how sublime must be their reach as well as their kindness to teach us as to when they have to say to us, when they are vehemently tell us, this world is seen but not real. It is mithya, jiva is mithya, upadhis are mithya. कितना उसमें समझदारी होनी है, हिम्मत होनी है कहने के लिए. Otherwise, to you and us, the world is real, the body is real, I am the deha, I have to have the world possessed by me. Through the indulgence in the world, I have to become sukhi, bhogi. इस तरह के जो लोअर लाइफ में जीने वाले हमको, वो बातें जो हमको सुनने को भी अच्छा नहीं लगते, एक्सेप्ट कर नहीं पाते, समझ नहीं पाते, उन चीज़ों को, that knowledge, when the Upanishadic rishis are fearlessly teaching to us out of their compassion, imagine how glorious, great they are. Those Upanishads we are studying. So therefore, let's have that respect, reverence to the rishis, munis, to the culture, the Sanatana Dharma. More importantly, the sacred occupation of studying these Upanishads. Never ever give up throughout life. Adhyayana. If you don't have time, give up all our other studies, all other books. Enough of all. समझे या ना समझे उपनिषद को पढ़ो. ऋषि himself will be kind to reveal to us the meaning. And he will be kind enough to inspire us to be on the path by being practical in doing sadhana. सब होएंगे हमको. पकड़ के रखना, श्रुति माता को पकड़ना, ऋषि परंपरा को पकड़ना, उनके द्वारा इस ब्रह्म तत्व को पकड़ के रखना. बाकी सब में कुछ ज्यादा रखा नहीं है. एनीथिंग इज देयर इन दिस वन. This is what today's first thought we just wanted to share. But many times, when we are not aware of what we are getting, then we don't value it and act in such a way that we lose it. Like the parents, like the family members, like the noble people who come in our life. We don't recognize their greatness, then we lose them. And once you lose them, na, you don't get them back. Parents, दोबारा मिलते हैं क्या? Is it not? In the same way, what we are getting now, the greatest of Upanishads, Upanishad, the greatest literature. Let us, while studying them only, recognize our fortune. While studying them only, recognize the need of our respect and reverence shown to them by fully involving in them to get maximum benefit out of them when they are available to us, because we don't know how long we'll get the opportunity. Today, this is one point. Second point is, remember, ki the Vedic Upanishad literature is for the highly qualified disciples. Those who have risen above all the Yeshanas, Putreshana, Vitteshana, Lokeshanebhya, Uttaya, Bhakishanayam Charanti, to them is this literature. And where is our mind now? Now, first topic is discussed the glory of Upanishad, the glory of any noble life, etc. Now, second topic we are talking. At present moment, how much our minds are at the grossest to superficial, external, worldly level of all the importance given to the world and senses and vasanas, etc. So it is always difficult to come to the level of what the rishis of the Upanishads are aiming at, what they are targeting, what they are trying to convey. Certainly. Therefore, repeated attempts are inevitable. And while doing those repeated attempts, in every attempt, little grosser to subtler understanding, we will enter into and we should enter into. For few days, what we are the class in, it is Upanishad, वही हमको समझ में नहीं आता. For few days क्या 2 साल से पढ़ रहे हैं, how much we understood. कि we are in Upanishad means what, in Brahma Vidya means what, Atma Vidya means what. मैं आपको एक एक को पकड़ के पूछूं तो द आंसर विल नॉट बी सो क्लियर, वेगनेस होगा ही. दैट्स हाउ इट इज. देन आफ्टर दैट every padam letter of every mantra or sloka, is it not? Then every sentence and its meaning, pada ka artha, vakya ka artha, usme again what is the sadhana to be done. And in Upanishads, more than gross physical sadhanas, like which are there in the Purana ityadi, where they tell us to do upasana and all. In this, the sadhana more is that of just changing the attitudes, you know, changing the way we receive the world, the way we involve in the world. We remain in the same world, but the attitude is told to be changed. हमको पकड़ना पड़ता है. Like what we are studying now, the Samhita Upanishad. This is a very good example. There's nothing gross told for us to be done. What you are going through, that alone, you observe with a changed attitude. And you have an attitude of observer than the indulger. Let the indulging or involving person be there with his all dharmic way of involving. But at the same time, be more and more an observer. While observing the phenomena, appreciate the grandness, the greatness, the wonder that is happening in what you are observing. By that, reduce your ego, reduce your arrogance, reduce your possessiveness or claiming on anything in this world. In fact, whether it's by my subjective happenings in me or the objective happenings that I see in the world, smaller or bigger ones, it is an unseen hand in whose presence all these are happening. Please observe that. Then aim at that as the goal, to know that, whether you call it as a person, whether you call it as a truth or the reality or the substratum, कुछ भी कहो, उनको जानने का एम करो. And the beauty there is what? The desire or the effort to know him leads to our identification with him. Then once we discover our identity with that, what to say, all the journeys have ended. All the struggles have ended. All the things to be reached or achieved have been achieved. So what we are saying in the second point, if you really are conscious, careful, how many times we studied in the Taittiriya Upanishad the Sambandha Bhashyam? More than 6-7 days. After which alone, little idea came to us wherein why the Bhagavan Shankara Bhagavan, instead of straight away starting the Bhashya Upanishad, he gave the introduction. The meaning of the introduction, we have explained the mantras, then its connectivity to what? To a question ki, When I am living my life happily with my work and money earning and all, why should I study Upanishad? Unless that why is answered, the question then how cannot be raised, and the answer to that question is doesn't become relevant. He how beautifully explained what is the meaning of bandhanam, how it comes, what is the role of the karma phala in bandhana, karma in giving the karma phala, kamana in rising to the karma, and how the kamana is endless, and how the kamana, when it is turned toward the atma, that the possibility of the apta kamatva happens. If you remember that repeatedly when you study the clarity. Then when we studied darshanno mitraha, it just was literal meaning earlier. But when we entered into each of the mantra bhashya, then we understood the requirement of the blessings of Mitra Varuna Ityadi. How spashta rupa that bhashyakara. But now, from that topic, we moved little ahead. Therefore, there seems to be some forgetfulness. But if one is really daily studying the same one, how will you forget? You will understand the meaning of Sharnamitra with Bhashya. You will understand the need of that chanting in which there is the invocation of the grace of those devatas. So, the Atma Vidya Shravana, Dharana, and then Upayoga Samarthya Praptyartam. Prarthyate. Shambhavatu iti. See that? In the same way, when we entered into the second anuvaka of the Siksha Adhyaya, more than 7 8 days, you could have easily chanted Siksha Vyakya Savarnaswara Matra Valam Sama Santana Ityukta Siksha. But then we took up Bhashya, and when we studied through that Bhashya, in general, we came to know the importance of or the value of the greatness of the bhasha, the language, and the vyakarana, the grammar in that. How it is adding such a great beauty to our life of communicating to each other. Uska glory, bhasha ka. Generally and particularly when we are going to the Guru to learn from him any vidya, especially Brahma Vidya. Is it not? Now, in the latest topic of third Anuvaka, where we are studying Sahanau Yashaha Sahanau Brahma Varchasam Atatasagam Hitaya Upanishadam Vyakhya Syamaha Panchasu Adhikaraneshu Adilokam Adijyotisham Adividyam Adiprajamadhyatmam Tamahasagam Hita Itya Chakshate Atadhilokam. When we have spent those 5 6 days and tried to lift our mind and intellect's ability to understand, then we have come to know in this world the great phenomena they are happening. Let us learn from them. Let us learn from them what? Two things. One, how the sandhis are happening in the world. And second is then who is behind all these sandhi that are happening. Everything is sandhi. And observing that sandhi is our Upanishad. That's called our Upasana. So when we see that Adhiloka, Samhita or Upasana or Upanishad, how the Prithvi and Dev are connected, that the jivas here on the Prithvi are getting whatever they want from the Devaloka Devatas, and whatever the jivas here are offering through Upasana and Puja or Yajna, they are reaching to the Devatas of Devaloka. And how the Prithvi staying jivas themselves with their merits deserving them are taken to the Devaloka. And once that is over at Devaloka, how they are sent back to the Prithvi. Therefore, the connection, sandhi between these two. Is it not? When we repeatedly do this discussion or do the manana of it, then what happens among so many things? One is what our stay on the earth depends on what we do. our going into the Swarga depends on what punya we do. Therefore, we are given a higher aim or the goal. By doing the upasana of this sandhi between Prithvi and Diloka, which is Adiloka upasana. Now, this is a sample. Into that, you have to add all other upasanas. Ki there's connection between Bhuloka as well as the Patala, the lokas, Bhuloka and Naraka, the lokas, Bhuloka and Antargata lokas, which Bhagavata taught us yesterday and day before. That what Papa we do that takes us to the Narakadi. What Punya we do little lesser than deserving Swarga, we go to the in-between lokas. Then, as we saw yesterday only in Bhagavata, कि उपरि उपरि गच्छन्ति सत्त्वस्थाः अधो अधो गच्छन्ति तामसाः then the rajagunaः मध्ये तिष्ठन्ति. Is it not giving us a meaning and clarity as to how we have to live in this world so that we go only to the higher worlds, not the lower. Now, this adds to an understanding little later. Is it only that through works or sadhanas that we have to run from one world to the other? Or is there something which is dhruva or permanent? To that question, the answer is given. There is a permanent, reachable goal that is abiding in your own essential self. All these studies of Samhita Upanishads along with the Samhita Upasanas later on will lead us to that final question and final answer as to where all our efforts or journeys end, where our limitations end, where the infinitude is gained. Having gained which, nothing more is remaining to be gained. Having known which, nothing remains to be known. Having reached where, nowhere to reach. तो यत् प्राप्य न किंचित वांछति और यत् गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते यत् ज्ञात्वा न किंचित अस्ति ज्ञातुम यस्मिन् विज्ञाते सर्वमिदं विज्ञातं भवति. Now this is how a jiva means you and I human, in our intellectual understandings and pursuits are evolving. This in short put together is called spiritual evolution. But this should not remain only at the theoretical level. Practically, in our application as well as in our experience also, we have to evolve. What is the practically doing and experiencing? For example, that Shanno Mitra. Every day, practically, we must do it, and consciously we should be able to observe that our prayers are answered by Mitra, Varuna, Ityadi, Aryama, and accordingly, what we requested from them is happening to us. मैं तो मानता हूँ बाबा क्या प्रारब्ध है we don't know for all deha, but the day when we started our Shanno Mitra mantra, our at the body level, our antakarana level, the problems are not as much as they were earlier. That we are able to pursue our sadhana study little better. More intensely, we really pray to that Mitra, Varuna, Aryama, and Indra, and Brahaspati, and Urukrama, we can see their grace. This is what the meaning of converting the theory into practical and the experience of the result of what we do practically. So to Siksha Adhyaya. When we are chanting the Upanishad mantras, when we are applying what we learned in that Siksha Adhyaya of respecting every varna, respecting every swara, respecting every matra, and becoming aware of the required amount of the bala, then we are maintaining that sama, and we are able to do that santana of consistently able to chant the mantra till where the full stop mark comes. Full stop. How wonderful it would be, the joy of that Siksha Adhyaya. If you do that, and it's only a sample, Siksha Adhyaya में ये 6 चीज बताए. But the other thing we talked about, what is that? Along with the matra, varna, swara, sama, santana, all other aspects of the shiksha are the grammar aspects. When they are known thoroughly, when we are playing joyfully with that knowledge of the Vyakarana, how joy it would be to communicate, to receive the communication. है ना, जिनको पूरा वोकैबुलरी आता है ना, जिनको पूरा ग्रामर समझ लिया, वो तो भाषा से ऐसा खेलेगा, वो गाना लिखेगा, भजन लिखेगा, स्तोत्र खुद ही लिखेगा, श्लोक लिखेगा, और जो लिखा हुआ है उसका भरपूर समझेगा. When you know that Awadh Bhasha, for example, of Tulsidas, thoroughly, you will revel in reading that Tulsi Ramayana. All his Kavitavali, Geetavali, Dohavali, Ratnavali, all that what he wrote, the joy of it is immense. You can't measure when you know the language. I'm giving that example. So to your own mother tongues. So to this Bhasha of Sanskrit. What that Rishi felt when he wrote, what that great poet felt when he wrote, whether it's Kalidas or any one of them. Is it not? मजा आता है कि नहीं? I'm just telling कि when we apply theory, learn theory into practical, how joyful it is. Remember the other day, one after the day we chanted the Srinivasa Gadyam for you in the evening class. Ramayana mein we chanted. If you really had known the grammar of it, literal meaning of each of the words called vocabulary, that would have lifted us to such a different heights of praising Lord Venkateswara through that Gadyam. I'm telling what practical thing gives us. Is it not now the third one also, the recent one? Not just getting satisfied with theoretical understanding, but practically we are involved in doing the Samhita Upanishad or that Sandhi Upasana in all these five and all the time. Oh Lord, you are the one who created this. Oh Lord, you are the one who created this. Oh Lord, you are the one which you brought both of them. And you are the one who brought them, both of them together with these rules. And lo, the outcome is so beautiful. It is your kindness, compassion. Everywhere, when that upasana is done in this way, practically the person's height of living life is different. The standard of living life is different. It's deeper, it's great. And it is not understandable to the ones who are at a very low level of animal or rakshasa, where they see the objects with the senses and want to indulge in the objects with the senses, not using the intellect at all to understand what exactly is happening in this world and who is the one who is doing these great, grand, glorious happenings. That great, grand, glorious happenings, technically here said by the Rishi as Mahasamhita, practically. And in practice, therefore, for us, everything in the world should become an upasana for us. What is upasana? Observing the great things happening and respecting, revering those happenings also, the outcomes also, and the one who is beyond or behind all these doings. जो भी हो रहा है उसका पीछे वाले कारण जिनको भगवान कहते हैं ना, उनको समझकर उनके प्रति रेस्पेक्ट रेवरेंस डेवलप करना. दिस इज द मीनिंग ऑफ लिविंग लाइफ एट हेड एंड हार्ट लेवल. Head level because you are understanding phenomena that is happening. Heart level because you are appreciating the gradness and greatness. Lower than this is the living at the mind level of emotions, desires, sense levels of indulgences, the body level of getting lazy, etc. Then the Shabda Sparsha Rupa Rasa Gandha level of only attraction. That is valid for the animals. The unevolved people, it is there. For persons who are evolving, they live the life only at the head and heart level. Head is appreciating or head is recognizing the grand happenings, heart is appreciating it. Is it not? There's more joy in seeing with the head how the tree is giving the fruit and thanking the Lord with the heart who is making this wonder happen than eating that fruit. You eat the fruit, who says not? But it's very temporary, only at the tongue level it is. but the discovery of the presence of the divine power behind it, which is making that raw soil into the fruit. When you discover it, when you appreciate it, that joy is greater. So may we all that way follow the sequence that is given to us in the Upanishad, wherein first we invoke the grace, second we do the Siksha Dhyaya, third we do Samhita Upanishad, slowly we become qualified for Brahma Atma Upanishad. Be very careful about it. And what is spoken from here, when you repeatedly do Mananam, then the clarity comes to each one of us also. Again. So having said so much, now in the last also Adhikaranam, fifth Adhikarana also we have seen of Adharahanu Purva Ropam, Uttarahanuruttara Ropam, Vak Sandhi, Jihva Sandhanam, Iti Adi Atmam Adhyatmam. Up to this we have seen, and these are only samples. If you have learned the art of seeing the sandhi that is happening in the world because of the sandhanam, where Purva Rupa and Uttara Rupa are coming together, every moment is an upasana. Every moment you can see the divinity everywhere that is working. What is that divinity? Will be the search on the seat of meditation after studying the Brahma Vidya Upanishads. दैट विल बी अ लिटिल लेटर सब्जेक्ट. पहले तो करो ऑब्जर्व कि ये हो रहा है, इतना बड़े पैमाने पे हो रहा है, कोई है उसके पीछे सब करने वाला. Without bringing our intellect into active participation of observance of these, remember we cannot come out of the lower life of like animals, indulging and to indulge fighting with each other or killing each other or doing all their adharma or पाप. उससे हम बाहर उठ नहीं सकते कोई भी करो. हो गया. Now here he says ta महासगम्हिता इत्याचक्षते नहीं. This mantra we have to see. Almost that also we have concluded where iti adhyatmam iti ma mahasagam hitaha. This is what we are pausing yesterday day before also. These five what are given to you are not just enumerations or numbering or mentioning, they are mahasamhitas. The subject taught to you through all these five Samhita Upanishad is Maha, great, for two reasons. Because they are talking about the phenomena which are happening at such a big scale. Second one is what? This Maha Samhita Upanishad Upasana, when you do, you become the Vidya Adhikari. Vijnana Adhikaritvat. That is what the Guru said here. If you remember it, ki, Vijnana Adhikara, he said. This is what is going to give Adhikara for Vijnana. Not only that, where we stopped yesterday, from there now we are continuing. This Samhita Upanishad, particularly as said in the five, in general, wherever, whatever we are doing, we are blessed with these 5 or 6 blessings. That's called as the Falashruti. These are the phala that will automatically accrue to any one of us who are doing the Samhita Upanishad. Sandhiyate means he is given with, he is endowed with, he is blessed with. What are the 6 things? Prajaya, Pashubhihi, Brahmavarchasena, Annadhyayena, then Suvargena, then Lokena. Is it not Suvargena and Lokena? These are the 6 things. And each of them, how important they are to add joy, happiness to us. Each one, little enumeration we do, details each one of you can think, which is not difficult at all. First is Prajaya. See, the joy of having children, and joy of having noble children, joy of having very evolving, promising children. How great that will be a satisfaction to the beings. The praja for the parents through the Bindu Santati is the praja for the Guru through the Nada Santati. Clear? Praja for the Guru is Shishyas, praja for the parents are children, Praja for the Raja or the people of the town or the kingdom. Praja for a boss or the subordinates. In general, Praja means all kith and kin, near and dear, friends and relatives. They say Praja. It literally means children. But you have to understand the all the beings around which are adding joy to us with their presence. ये जंगल में रहा, ये कोई एक बंदा नहीं है दूसरा बात करने को, कितना मिजरेबल रहेगा लाइफ बताओ. On the other hand, when you are with praja all around, and we are so used to it, so effortlessly it is given to us, therefore we are not understanding the value, importance and contribution of praja all around us, who are consistently working to make us happy. क्योंकि इसका इतना पॉकेट में मिल रहा है, इसका हमको वैल्यू नहीं पता चल रहा. At home, the wife or husband or children, every day they are available, therefore not recognizing their value. When you go to the office, the people in the office, the boss, subordinate, colleagues, etc. When you are on the road, the people of the taxi, auto वाले वो उनको ले जा रहे हैं. When you go to the दुकान, जो बंदा बेचने वाला, see, there are producer, there is a one packer, there's a distributor, then the wholesaler, the retailer. In the retail shop, the boy who packs it and gives. अरे यार इतने प्रजा होने के कारण आपको सब कुछ ऐसे जट मांगा फट मिल रहा है कि नहीं. आई एम जस्ट टेलिंग द इन्वॉल्वमेंट ऑफ प्रजा अराउंड अस to make our life so easy. How many people in the electricity department are working to continuously provide electricity to us, which we are enjoying so lavishly? You may be paying the bill amount. That's okay. We agree for that, that you are great. But whether you pay bill amount millions or not, if the people are producing electricity at the hydro project, and here those who are supplying and monitoring every moment, if they are not there, आप करोड़ रुपए दो, बिजली मिलेगा क्या? Never imagine that I and my payment is the cause of anything I am getting. No, it is a minimum thing you have to do. But the major chunk is the sequence of people and their efforts, which are making these things happen. I'm explaining the word praja. Anything, every grain of the rice we eat, every one small little vegetable also we eat, anything we are utilizing, how much of the praja are there continuously working? These are all about the physical aspects or objects I'm talking about. But how many people are giving us the intellectual guidance, the emotional securities, the help at the physical level when you are diseased, comforting us? मैं कह रहा हूँ प्रजा मीन्स व्हेन यू आर upasaka through this Samhita Upanishad and appreciate the things that are present and appreciate the provider God the Lord, automatically we are blessed with the praja. What the meaning of blessing with praja? We never lack the people around us to provide the gross objects or provide the subtle securities or guidances or protection. Then our life becomes effortless. नहीं तो कोई दिमाग से समझाने वाले नहीं हैं, कोई इमोशनल सिक्योरिटी देने वाले नहीं हैं, कोई बीमारी को ठीक करने वाले नहीं हैं, कोई ग्रॉस ऑब्जेक्ट्स रिक्वायर्ड है उसको प्रोवाइड करने वाले नहीं है मानो. You can't do all of them. Then the life is so difficult to live. That's the meaning, expanded meaning of Sandhiyate Prajaya. This is the Falashruti of this Samhita Upanishad Upasana. Second one is Sandhiyate Pashubhihi. Second is Pashubhihi. He will get all the Pashus, cattle. The Pashu indicates here all the wealth. Cattle was the wealth. And with the cattle and with the outcome of the cattle products, whatever, all the other wealth of gross properties, monies, everything they used to get. पशु संपदा से ही बाकी सारे संपदा मिलता था उन दिनों में. Never by saying praja, all the living beings help is taken. Understood. By pashu, all the properties that is taken care. Pashu is a sampada. Pashu vihi and variety of pashu. It can be hathi also for you to do savari, ऊंट also for you to do savari, ghoda also for you to savari karo. Then all the cows to give all the milk, buffaloes, etc. The bulls to khet jotna or transport. The horses for riding to give us a the ride through the chariot. The sheep, etc., giving us the wool, etc. Pashu includes all that. Pashu sampada. It can be the deers which add a beauty for the angan where you have to stay. Here, Pashu means every of the Pashu or Pakshigana which directly or indirectly help us. They will always be there around. Pashu includes a murgi which 4 o'clock उठकर हमको उठाता है. It includes, Pashu includes a koyal which indicates to us this Vasanta Rutu is coming. पशु इज रोर ऑफ ए लाइन विच टेल्स मैं यहाँ हूँ इधर मत आना मैं तुम्हें खा जाऊंगा we have to expand our understanding while understanding these type of Upanishadic sentences. He will be Sandhiyate Pashabhihi. The Pashu also include the small bacteria to make the milk into curd, to convert all the material of the world again back into the earth through the putrefaction or whatever the process. वो जो सूक्ष्म जीव नहीं होते हैं ना तो फिर हम ये सारे नॉर्मल नहीं बनता है पूरे दुनिया का जो कचरा हम बना रहे दे आर रिलेंटलेसली वर्किंग कंटिन्यूसली जानो या ना जानो even in our deha how many bacteria in the stomach system or digestive system which are adding for the all inner processes हैं बहुत सारे कीटाणु जीवाणु परान्न जीवी कहते हैं उनको in Hindi Bhasha, Sanskrit Bhasha. Those Paranas parasite they are called. The parasites are there on our body not only for their sustenance, but they are adding for so many things that are happening in our deha. I am telling expansive meaning of Pashu means from the small microbes up to the elephant level. Everything, see, everything need not help us only in the Bhautika Rupa. ये मोर जब नाचता है that will not add to you anything in a bhautika rupa but that gives an ahlada to your own eyes. Oh, that also part of life's joy, is it not? The bagula से हमको नहीं मिलेगा कुछ सीखने को मिलेगा ना हम सब पक्षी को देख कुछ मिलता है उसको सीखने से कोई इंटेलेक्चुअल बात है सिखा रहे कोई इमोशनल बात है सिखा रहे the pashus when they are loving their own offsprings that is an inspiration that's a joy to see ये सब हमारे मन बुद्धियों को प्रभावित कर रहे हैं दिमाग आएगा अरे वो पशु लोग अपने बच्चों को देख रहे हैं तो मैं क्यों नहीं देखूं मैं भी देख लूंगा इट विल क्लिक नो आई एम टेलिंग यू हाउ ए पर्सन हु वांट टू लर्न ही कैन लर्न सो मेनी थिंग्स फ्रॉम ईच ऑफ दिस सेंटेंस फॉर एग्जांपल संधीयते पशुभिः पशु संपदा इन टुडेस वर्ल्ड द पशु मीन्स बंगला गाड़ी नौकर चाकर जो भी कहते हो ना ऑल ऑफ देम आर फुल Praja means the friends, family members, relatives, colleagues, the business partners, the employees, the employers. And you can expand. Praja means all doctors, lawyers, and you can say all noble politicians. They are not physically directly related to us, but their way of ruling affects us also. Proper rule करो तो जिंदगी अच्छा होता है. If the governance is good. So that way, prajaya sandhiyate, pashubhihi sandhiyate. You understand in the narrow meaning form also, you try to understand in the expanded form. Both. Third one is Brahmavarchasena. Now this is something special because this whole Upanishad or Anuvaka started with that prayer only, is it not? Sahanau yashaha, sahanau brahmavarchasam. That time he explained, if you remember. With that only it is a Sandhiyate Brahmavarchasena. The Brahmavarchas at the highest level is Brahma Anubhuti. At least later level, lower level is You are doing sadhana for that Brahma Anubhuti. At third level is you are convinced about the Brahma Tattva. At the fourth level is you are trying to become convinced about it. At the next lower level, you are pursuing that study of Shastra where you are trying to get that Brahma Vidya. All that Brahma Varchas will come to us. And there are some other Brahma Varchas. Of studying the Veda itself gives a Brahma Varchas. Doing the Ucharana of the Veda mantra itself gives a Brahma Varchas. Respecting, revering the rishis who are involved in translating or bringing this knowledge to us, the respect itself gives a Brahma Varchas. The Sankalpa that I must study Brahma Vidya itself gives Brahma Varchas. So the Anubhava Rupa Brahma Varchas onwards, up to the awareness about the presence of some Brahma Vidya, which when we study, it gives a sublime knowledge. All that is Brahma Varchas. Now what we have? Jiva Varchas. Not even Jiva Varchas. We have a Samsari Varchas. Not even a Samsari Varchas. That Samsari also Upadi Tadatmya, Kama Krodha Yukta, Ragadvesha Yukta, then Papa Yukta, Adharma Yukta, Parama Daridra Varchas we have around us. That nobody need tell us. We know what's going on in our life every moment. That's called as Varchas. What type of thoughts we have, what type of feelings we have, what type of endeavors we do. That's called the Varchas. Samsari Varchas, Kami Varchas, Krodhi Varchas, Lobhi Varchas, Bhayankara. Now, instead of this, imagine the Brahma Varchas. Yesterday we were studying in Ramayana, both the Raja has got the Rajarshi Varchas. The Nimi, the Vasishthaji has got his own Brahma Varchas. Of course, that time something had to happen by the destiny, for the destiny. Therefore, they cursed each other. In moments, they just dropped the body and became Vayu Rupa Jiva. How come that Shabda of theirs had such a power to make them drop the Deha? That is called Brahma Varchas. इन सब ब्रह्म तत्व या वेदों में दिया हुआ अलग अलग उपासनाएं योग साधनाएं कर करके उनके अंदर उतना शक्ति आया. दैट इज वाई ब्रह्म वर्च. Then Brahma is Ananda Swarupa. That is the meaning of Ananda Varchas. Brahma is Chit Swarupa. That is the meaning of Chit Brahma Varchas, where you are alert, aware, knowledgeable, no samshayas, no fears, no anxiety, no doubt, no confusion at all. That fearless, confusionless, doubtless, convinced way of life is called the Chit Varchas. Chit is Brahma Varchas. And the virtues of Sat. Sat virtues is what? I am that place, that self which is eternal. When I am eternal, immutable, undying, unborn, then all the negative virtues of fear of मैं कब मरूंगा, कैसे मरूंगा, कहाँ मरूंगा, कैसे मरने से बचूं, that virtues of fear will not be there. हम सबके चेहरे में वो दिखता है. एक उम्र आने के बाद डर लगने लगता है कि मैं जा रहा हूँ, जा रहा हूँ, जा रहा हूँ, जाना पड़ेगा, जाने का पड़ेगा, जाने पड़ेगा, जाऊंगा, 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 गया. The Brahma Varchas is I am that self which is Sat Swarupa eternal. कोई कुछ काल या माया कुछ मेरा बिगाड़ नहीं सकता. मैं उन सबके अतीत हूँ. I am कालातीत, I am मायातीत, I am गुणातीत. Therefore I am जन्म मृत्यु अतीतो. That experience और उसका जो वर्चस है अलग ही होता है. So Sad Brahma Varchas, Chit Brahma Varchas, Ananda Brahma Varchas will be given to us. Sandhiyate Brahma Varchasena. Sandhiyate Prajaya Falashruti. Sandhiyate Pashubhihi. Sandhiyate Brahma Varchasena. Means in course of time, as you are intensifying these upasanas, each of them are given to us. Some are helpful for the outer worldly happiness. Some are helpful for the inner psychological, intellectual comforts and happinesses. Some are for the ultimate truth. Brahmavarchasena, in the beginning stages, the satisfaction of studying Veda, Vedanta and doing some of the Veda Ukta Karma, Yajna Agadi and getting result. At the higher level, the Brahmavarchas is only one of Brahmanubhuti, said I am Brahmasmi, which will be later after studying not only Samhita Upanishad but real Brahma Vidya Upanishad. So, in anticipation, he is saying now. At this level, what we have to understand as Brahma Varchas is the keen interest and desire to study the Brahma Vidya of the Upanishad. Then the effort, then really gaining Brahma Vidya, theoretical, doing it practical and experiencing it. ये सारे चीज़ों को उसमें ऐड करना ब्रह्म वर्चस इन एंटिसिपेशन ऑफ ब्रह्म विद्या थियोरिटिकल प्रैक्टिकल एक्सपीरियंशियल सारे आपको आएंगे क्योंकि आप यहाँ तक आए तो आगे भी इंस्पिरेट हो जाओगे आगे चलोगे ही so brahma varchasena is the third one the fourth one is what annadyena what is the meaning of annadyena Annadya means the anna food for the mouth is eatables. For all other four indriyas are their respective object of senses. And for the mana, the anna is good thoughts, noble thoughts, emotions. For the buddhi, the right understandings. Annadhyena means what? All the time you will never have the dearth of the anna of any sort. ज़रूरत है मिल गया चाहो तो मिल गया मांगो तो मिल गया फुल्ली हमेशा अवेलेबल है there is nothing lacking that's the meaning of annadi here the annadi you can add as all the fields or the crops or the trees which give fruits vegetables all consumable goods you can add in annadi so prajaya you can add all your the people etc pashubihi you can add all the properties which you otherwise use Annadi, you can add as all consumable goods. Brahmavarchas, you can add all intellectual knowledge, emotions, and all the abilities, faculties you can add. One is blessed with all that. Anna Adhyana. Anna Adhyana includes at a subtler, deeper or varied level. All the consumable goods are available. All the instruments which you consume them are also intact. Then the required joy of consuming them also relentlessly. That is meaning of Adhyena. Anna Adhya means food is available, food is cooked, for cooking the gas stove is available, for food is served, for serving the plates, ladles are available, then food is available and food is consumed with the hands intact and you mix the food and eaten it and then food is enjoyed when it landed on the tongue then food gave you contentment or satisfaction because you had your tasty choice food with required quantity. This is called as Anna Adya. This is only 50%. Second 50% is what? Most important is what? The consumed food is digested. The digested food has become energy. That energy made me so strong, feeling of strength. That strong feeling, healthy feeling, energetic feeling, feeling of strong immunity are making me perform whatever I do. That all is called as Anna Adyena. Anna Adi. अन्ना आद्यना मीन्स खाना खाना बनना लायक बनना खाने का उसको खा पाना वो पच जाना उससे सारे स्ट्रेंथ मिलना दीज आर ऑल कॉल्ड एज बिकॉज अन्न मिल गया लेकिन पकने आने के लिए आपके पास गैस नहीं है कीमत बढ़ रहा है यू कॉन्ट ईट द रॉ फूड यू मे बी कुकिंग इट बट सारे मसाले नहीं है तो all are ready but if you don't have time to eat it if you don't have the health to eat health means feverlessness you have eaten it but कम पैसी हो गया तो डाइजेस्ट नहीं हुआ तो when the rishi is blessing us with अन्नाद्येन he'll not bless only superficially like when you go to the hotel खाना देखने को अच्छा होता है लेकिन खाने के बाद हजम नहीं होता या बिल आपको इतना पे करना पड़ेगा is it not in the blessing the Rishi Annadhyana includes right from the first step of highly quality food available to you till the last step of everything is digested and the energy of that has come to the body along with the earlier joy of taste etc etc. टेस्ट एक आनंद देता है क्वालिटी एक आनंद देता है क्वांटिटी एक आनंद देता है उसका पोजीशन एक आनंद देता है पोजीशन ऑफ हॉट और कोल्ड एटसेट्रा you know the tea how much ever tasty it is if it is not having the minimal or optimal garam और चाय मजा नहीं आता है चाय का so too you are having a cold water ice cream but it is only should be in a proper position then only it will give joy A pig lava ice cream will not give you joy. So too an ice cream like a stone, because you have kept it in a freezer, also will not give you joy. वो पत्थर की तरह भी नहीं होना है कि पानी की तरह भी नहीं होना है. When you take it with a scoop, it should be available, not like a liquid like a spoon again. And when you put it in the mouth, it should be chewable, like it should be chewable by the teeth, so too tastable by the tongue. I'm just giving an idea what is the meaning of anna dhyena with an example of an ice cream. Understood? Any vegetable ज़्यादा पक भी गया, then it is so untasty, मज़ा नहीं आता. And it is raw also, it won't give. पक्का exactly जैसे पकने से you will enjoy it उतना. And each vegetable its own different taste at different level of its boiling or whatever cooking, let us say. पनीर लिया, उसका कुकिंग अलग होता है. You can't too much melt it, वो सत्यानाश होता है वो. I'm just giving अन्ना देना how it gives an expansive meaning. हो गया? समझ में आ गया ना? Then the next one is what? सुवर्गेण. हम्म. 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 सुवर्गेण, both meanings is what? One hmm, is really going to that Swargaloka and getting all Swarga Sukhas. Hmm. Second Swarga is on the earth only. You will get all the Swargaloka like of Ananda. Third Swargena, spiritually, philosophically, is Swasmin Gamanam is Swarga. Swasmin Gamanam Swarga again has got the three levels. One level is what? Dehe Indriya Mana level, there is happy. That's called Swarga. At the Buddhi level, having the correct knowledge, etc., is second Swarga. But the real Swasmin Gamanam is when I identify with my own self. Swasmin Gamanam is Swarga. Swaha Gaha. Swagam. Is it not? Swarga means. Swaha means Swasmin. Ga means Gamanam. देखो स्वर्गेण मीन्स व्हाट? आपको स्वर्गलोक मिलेगा, यहीं आपको स्वर्ग आएगा, आपको अंदर का स्वर्ग भी मिलेगा. अंदर स्वर्ग इज व्हाट? देहेंद्रिय मन लेवल, वन satisfaction. That is one set of joy. Intellectual joy is different. When you are having knowledge, clarity, vision. Mind's joy is good values, good emotions. मन का आनंद होता है. All its expectations are getting fulfilled, getting all the love, sympathy, care, concern, all of that at the mind level of choice. Senses level, you all know. They are intact and what they want are get coming to us. Body level, we know long life, healthy life, diseaselessness. So, Swarga, it's like a Swarga only. ये उपनिषद संहिता का उपासना करने से all these four levels of Swarga Prapti come. The outer Swarga really of the Swargaloka, the Swargaloka external when we are in the human life, the inner Swarga of three levels and beyond of the intellectual level, and final Swasmin Gamanam called Brahmanubhuti. वो भी आएगा सुवर्गेण. Then Suvargena, you can add the Lokena with that, you will have the Swarga Loka Anubhuti or Suvargena and Lokena. Here Loka, you can talk about the Lokas beyond this Swarga. The Maharloka, the Janaloka, the Tapoloka, the Satyaloka, and ultimately from the Satyaloka, taught by the Brahmadeva, the Brahmagnana, experiencing the Brahmanubhuti. This is how, when we are seriously, sincerely following the Upanishad from the beginning, the benefits. These are all the advertisements. And none of these ads are, please remember, for selling the product. One way of advertising is to sell product. At that time, the product may be good or bad. It is by choice. Another way of advertising is because the product is great. The greatness of the product advertising is one thing. Product is advertised for sales is another thing. Here, the Upanishads advertisement of when you do the Samhita Upanishad, these are the results. Is not for the sale of the product. It is because of the greatness of the product. Whether you understand or not, accept or not, हम तो आपके सामने सत्य रखा, एक्चुअली सत्य वचन है, ये एडवर्टाइजमेंट नहीं है, हम उसको ऐसा कह रहे हैं. The Falashruti. Everywhere the Falashruti is an advertisement. Like when you study the Falashruti at the end of Vishnu Sahasranama, it's an advertisement. Beta, ये ऐसी वैसी बात नहीं है. If you practice it, so many benefits come, therefore do it. And in that there is no झूठ spoken. There is no any gain by them. जिन्होंने एडवर्टाइज किया, इस एडवर्टाइजमेंट के कारण हम सब उपनिषद पढ़ने से ऋषि को कुछ एक्स्ट्रा मिलने वाला नहीं है. श्रुति माता इज नॉट गोइंग टू गेट एनीथिंग एक्स्ट्रा. It is we only are informed about the fact, about the result which you accrue when we are following the Upanishad. And that should inspire us. When I am going to get prajaya, pashuhi, brahmavachasena, anyadyena, swargyena, lokena, can any other occupation of the world promise to us all these results? They may promise, but they can't give. Only the Brahmavidya can give all of that. Be what at a higher level when we are pursuing Brahmavidya. The Ishvara becomes so happy with our efforts. In the beginning, although he takes away everything from us, later on he becomes so happy, joyful. They provide things unasked. Like the parents take away all comfortable things from us when we have to study and appear for the exams. When we really do well in the exams and show great result, all the things whatever they took away, will they not provide the double of them? Just observe a parent. He says, मेरा बच्चा इतना बढ़िया तरक्की किया, ले ले बेटा, you become deserving. Is it not? And later on at a matured stage, it's not parents take away things from you, you only give them up because you understood. Enjoying these things are not important. Having a goal and achieving it is important. So too, a person who through the Veda Upanishad Upasana, when he is rising to the higher levels, he will not, even when given by the God, all of those things, he say, "Mere ko ye nahi chahiye." Nothing lower than Brahma Vidya or Brahma Anubhuti I want. A Prajaya Pashubihi, all the Siddhis, all the properties, all the prosperities, all the Brahma Loka, Indra Loka, Deva Loka, मैं क्या करूँ भाई, ये सब आप रख लो. I just want Aham Brahmasmi. By willingly only gives up. Like a matured youngster, willingly only gives up all the entertainments and bhoga and takes up the study of whatever he has to do, either for study or exam or the job or interview. उसको बोलना नहीं पड़ता, वो मैच्योर्ड हो जाता है. वो खुद ही कहता है, भाई मेरे को कहीं जाना नहीं, मैं कुछ कोई कहीं इन्वॉल्व नहीं होना, पढ़ना. सो टू दी ब्रह्म विद्या अधिकार में एक्चुअली ऑटोमेटिकली स्थिति आती है कि अदर देन डिस्कवरिंग द ब्रह्म स्वरूप एनमी, all the things, even though they are freely available, freely given, they are not taken. They all appear to be distractions. Those which were appearing as attractions earlier are found to be distractions. That's called maturity. That will come to us with the regular study of Upanishad. पक्का, एक गारंटी है. जैसे परम वैरागी उपनिषद पढ़कर ब्रह्म विद्या से मुक्त होता है, वैसे ही उपनिषद पढ़ने वाला भी एक दिन परम वैरागी बनकर साधना करके ब्रह्म प्राप्त करके मुक्त होता है. तो कोई डाउट नहीं. हमको बस पकड़ के रखना है उपनिषद. हो गया. विथ दिस वी हैव डन द 3 अनुवाकास. One is Prarthana Anuvaka, second is the grammar or Bhasha Anuvaka, third one is the Upanishad Samhita Anuvaka. Okay? Now again the fourth Anuvaka talks about another prayer, mainly for getting two very essential things in our life. Two prayers. One prayer is done for getting all the wealths, WEALTH. Another prayer is done for the Medha. So Shri Kama and Medha Kama. Shri and Sampada is desired for doing all the yajnas in such a huge big way that through the performance of those yajnas, not only we are clearing all the debts outside, but we are also becoming purified inside, which is inevitable. After that, the second desire is for the Medha. Medha Kamana. That alone, with that alone, the Brahma Vidya taught by the Guru will become meaningful, useful, fruitful, and blissful for our life. एंड आई टेल यू शन्नो मित्र मंत्र के साथ साथ ये वाला मंत्र का भी हमें डेली एक बार पढ़ना. I tell you, the Rishi Parampara, Shruti Mata will always be with us to protect us. And this mantra, which we have already thoroughly studied, both in Telugu and English, when we are doing the Shanti mantra. Now, for this, we also have the Adi Shankara Bhashyam, therefore, we will be able to understand the meaning of it exhaustively. So, today we will just chant it, tomorrow we'll see the meaning of it. And it is also as sweet as what we were studying so far. और दिल को छूने वाला है, in the sense the need and importance of this mantra, we will feel it. Let us chant today. Fourth Anuvaka. Om Yaschandasam Rishabho Vishwarupaha Chandobhyodhyamrutat Sambhabhova Samendro Medhaya Sprunotu Amrutasya Devadharano Bhuyasam Shariram Me Vicharshanam जिह्वा मे मधुमत्तमा कर्णाभ्याम भूरिविश्रुवं ब्रह्मणः कोशोऽसि मेधया पिहितः श्रुतं मे गोपाय. Then avahante vitanvana kurvana chiramatmanah. Those mantras continue. So this mantra again is found in before the Medha Suktam also, which we chant. And that belongs to, I think, same Taittiriya Aranyaka. Okay, in this mantra also, the Omkara is taken as the deity or God, and him we are praising in the first few lines. Then from him we are doing the Medha Kamana. Then thereafter the Avahanti Vitanvana Kurvana Chiramatmana. In that we are praying to the Om only, but through the Yagna Yaga of Swahakara, in which we are asking for the Shri. So Medha Kamana equips us with the Brahma Vidya. Shri Kama equips us with the ability and facility to conduct Yagna Yagadi, by which the Antakarana Shuddhi becomes. First, Veda is asked, then the Brahma Vidya is gained in its theory, and to do it practically and experientially, the Shri is wanted or desired for. When the Shri comes, use that Shri for all the Upasana or the Yajnayaga, become Shuddha in Antakarana, with the Antakarana Shuddhi or Shuddha Antakarana. What is learned through the Meda, the Brahma Vidya theoretical, we do it practice and we experience it. A perfect, systematic, beautiful guidance. And here also, whether it is Meda or Shri, when it is desired, there are three things that are there. First, we do the Upasana of the concerned Devata, be attentive, for the gaining of this Meda and Shri. When they are provided with to us, we have to be responsible enough to maintain this Meda and Shri. We should not squander it or misuse it or waste it or neglect it. Then the third aspect, first to pray and gain. Second is maintain. Interesting. Third one is what? Making right utilization of that. In this world, anything is like that only. Na? It is a gross wealth also. Even the people arriving in our life also, all of them have all the three. Seek it, protect it, make right use of it. Then only there is a fulfillment. In the same language or angle, we will be studying this particular Yaschandasaam mantra tomorrow, and very exhaustive, very beautiful, very needed one. Yeah. So, in this way, today we'll stop here at this Upanishad class and never miss this Taittiriya Upanishad, because we are spending sufficient time, giving sufficient time, and putting due efforts, whatever are at our level, trying to understand not only the literal meaning but their indicative meaning, their applicability, application, and the techniques to apply also. This much exhaustively we are trying our best to study. So I only can suggest you to be more serious, sincere, regular, which you are already showing. Om, 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 Om. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Paramarushibhyo Namaha Parabrahmane Namaha Shrutimatre Namaha Vedavyasa Maharshe Namaha Vaishambhaya Maharshe Namaha Yajnavalkya Maharshe Namaha Adya Shankara Maharshe Namaha Asmat Gurubhyo Namaha Om Tat Sat Brahmarpanamastu. Dhanyavad. We'll spend 10 minutes away, 15 minutes for our next study of Vidura Niti.